Hi guys, welcome to the Pixipui hour. I hope you guys are doing well today. Today we're going to be working on turning this still image to this one. But before we get further in, let's talk about some things. I got your feedback and we're going to make sure we spend a little bit more time on what you need and stuff. So let me see the chat. Let me see the chat. Hi Wade, hi Joshua, hi Timmy. I hope you lot are having a wonderful day today. Let me zoom this in. Let me zoom this in. What technical difficulties? You don't mean me, do you? Hi Uma, welcome, welcome, welcome. So I've changed things up. We've made this be incredibly beginner friendly. We're going to, if you want to follow along, there are project files in the project thing below. Hi Voodoo, hi Ashra, hi Mwenda, hi Lilia, hi Derek, hi Joshua. We'll have to rewatch the previous. Well, we can start from fresh with this one actually. So if you want to follow along or do this at the end of the stream, you perfectly are well in your rights to do so. We're going to be working on turning a very, very cute still image of a plant pot into a walking one. Howdy Steve, lucky, happy lurking, hi Josie. If you have any questions along the way, please let me know. I can actually see both the chats this time. I can see all the chats, so I'm ready. First things first though, I've broken it down into stages. So stage one, what we're going to be doing is we're going to open the file. It's going to give us our plant pot. We're going to key our plant pot where it is or above. We'll pull it down, keep it in that spot by keyframing it again, and then we'll pull it back up again. That will give us a bounce. A very simple one, but that will give us a bounce. So let us hop in there. If you have any questions, let me know, but we'll slowly break this down. Okie doke. So we've got our plant pot. But in order to make it move, we do need to start with those keyframes. So on our pot layer, like what you're doing, oh, I thank you, Wade. The first thing we got to do is open our pot. If you know exactly what you want to animate, you can totally use a keyboard shortcut. But if we're going to assume that we're beginners here, we can click the drop down box and scroll and find the stopwatch next to position. The stopwatch lets us make a keyframe, and a keyframe is it's like we're saving a moment in time of a position. So we're doing that for our movement. So let's first drag it up. Actually, I like that. I'm going to assume this is the floor. I like where it is. So I'm just going to move my keyframe over to the right. And I'm going to copy it with Control and C. Is the pot all vector or raster? Actually, the pot is, I think it's vector. I made it with the pen tool in Photoshop. We're going to copy the keyframe and paste it, just so we don't need to fiddle about with it. It means we've got a new keyframe. And now we're going to drag up this one that says 0, 0. That's actually the Y-axis. So we'll move it up a little bit. And if we press play, it's going to go down, which is wonderful. Thank you, Voodoo Val. Nice cursor. Thank you. Got to keep it customizable. Voodoo Val's got the link to the project file down below if you'd like that there. I'm just going to move this over a little bit because it kind of floats down a little bit too slowly. So the closer we put our keyframes, the faster it's going to move. Maybe just a little bit closer because we want that hop or that movement. Like when we're walking, tends to be a little bit quick. Also, hi sis. My sissy's in the chat. I like that. We'll go with that. Actually, it's still too slow. Let's move it a little bit over towards our first keyframe. Okay, we got to swap. We got to pop down. I am actually going to copy that down frame once more. The reason why we're going to do this is to hold that frame. I'll show you what it looks like without it. So I'm just going to copy the first frame because we need the pot to go back up. That's how we make it loop. But if we do this, it might be okay. You might like to do that. That's totally fine. I might get rid of it actually at the end of it. But I'm going to copy that still frame and paste it. So that means it goes down, hangs there for a second and comes back up. But the loop is pretty short and this composition is super long. The composition is basically what your animation sits in. So for me to cut this down and make it easy for me to loop, I'm just going to move my keyframe or my time indicator. And on the left, it's actually got a timer over there. So let's copy this, click on it with the left mouse button, copy that. We're going to right click our composition up top, and then we're going to paste in the duration section. So that's automatically given us a faster way of making the composition a little bit shorter. Okie dokie. So that was stage 1. Kind of easy, right? All right, let's see what is in store for stage 2. Stage 2, we need to start to get the rotation in because we don't normally just move straight up. We kind of move back a bit. So the first keyframe, we're going to rotate it back. On the next keyframe, we'll leave it where it is, but on its way back up, we'll tilt it forward. And then on the last frame, we'll put it back where it was. So as long as your first frame and your last frame are the same, it creates a loop. So it doesn't really matter too much what you do in the middle. If you're aiming for a loop, the last frame and the first frame have to be the same. Okie dokie. So we want the rotation this time. So let's find the rotation in the keyframe layer and click the stopwatch. I don't think we need one where it is. Welcome, RB. We're animating a cute little pot. Cute little pot. So let's rotate this plant pot backwards. And I'm going to move the keyframe to where I want it to tilt forward, which I think is about here. There's a reason why I'm not doing the middle one. You might find that you like the animation moving in between the two, or you might want more control, but we'll see what happens. Because we've not stopped the rotation, it tilts straight away, which isn't necessarily what we want. So let me copy the first frame. And now I'm going to paste it. Welcome in, Nisty. It's good, but it kind of does it a little bit too soon. When you're animating, you want things to happen, but not at the same time. So let's try to change when the rotation happens. So we're just going to rotate it before it goes all the way down to the bottom. I love that everybody knows each other. It's really sweet. Okay, so now we've got a tilt, a little rotation movement system going on here. We dig it, but we need it to go back up. And how do we do that? Copying the first keyframe, moving it to the end and pasting it. And if we feel like it, we can do the same thing that we did with this middle bit, which is move the keyframe out a little bit. So it means it's going to be rotating back in its position, but not at the same time with it going up and down. It kind of makes it look more interesting when we make things happen at different times. So if I move it a little bit, we can move it a little bit before or a little bit after. There we go. Simple. Oh, it seems, have we made this too easy? Is this too easy? Could be too easy. Okay, step 4. Step 4, step 3. Okie dokie. So, we've done the position, we've done the rotation. Now we're moving on to squash and stretch. So that means on its way down, it will stretch. When it hits the floor, it will squash. And on its way back up again, it's gonna stretch once more. Welcome, Becca. Joshua said, we've all been watching Adobe TV for many years. Oh, talk about the community, I love it. Derek said, I remember them trying to teach us this in Flash back in, what, 2010? Ah, the good old days of Flash, Derek. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Oh, Misty, thank you. Okay, so the next step is the squash and stretch. I thought that for an easier way to go along, if I have stages of the video, that way, even if you're watching this back, you could technically skip the middle parts if you wanted to and just watch the stages because that will tell you what you need to do. But yes, if you're following along, now we need to go to the scale. Does anyone have any questions? Questions? If not, let's continue. Let's go to scale. You know what's funny, Derek? I wasn't taught After Effects at school. I wasn't taught it. I've actually been using After Effects very recently, maybe in the last 3 years. Okay, we've not actually done any easy ease or anything like that, and I've got a perfect description of what an easy ease is now. I do want to make a little video in case somebody asks, and I can be like, oh, here's an example of easy ease, but we don't need that yet. That's great, thank you. Okay, so let's move this over. That was Annika, welcome, lovely. Welcome. Steve said, I have somewhere there's an IT guy full of pins. Oh no, Steve. Hi, Annika. Okay, so we said on its way down, it's got to stretch. So I'm going to leave a keyframe at the start with it being standard. Jazz music stops. Any questions? You know, look, you gotta, Alyssa said, first time in your stream, love the energy. Thank you. Wait, where's my fan? We gotta be dramatic. Thank you. Okie dokie. Squash and stretch. So first things first, I did it without talking about it. On certain pieces in After Effects, you've got a little loop-de-loop. If we want to move the scale independently, so if we do it right now, it's going to scale the whole thing. That's not what we want. We don't want big plant pot. What we want to do is squash the height. The height gives us the fake squash and stretch look. So to do that, we click the link and it goes away. Oh, Derek! Derek said, God, I love watching Pixie. He always cheers me up. Thank you, Derek. If I can like bottle myself, I'll be like, here, just pixie dust. Spa. So we've got that. We want to stretch it on the way down. So we're just going to pull up the side that makes it go up. If you're not sure, just quickly fiddle with the thing. You'll work it out when you're fiddling with it. Okay, so we've got this. Oh, hello, darling. We're scaling the wrong one, aren't we? Hold on a second. It's always good when there's an issue on the screen, right? We need that to help us do our stuff. Where does it... Oh, who is this? Okay, that's not what we need. Leaf driver, pot. Is this what I want to stretch it with? Hold on, let me see. So we've got things that indicate where things are going to happen from. If you can see at the very bottom, there's a little circle with all these. It's like a captain on a ship. That's our anchor. Wherever our anchor is, that's where things happen from. So what I'm going to do, because it's down there, and that's great, I'm going to pop the scale here. I'm going to, oops, I'm going to squash it down. Oh, hi, Chuck. Welcome. I'm in London. Pixie, you're a joy. Oh, thank you, Voodoo. Issues on the stream just mean we get to... That's true. That's a good thing, right? So I'm just going to squash it when the anchor's actually on it. And then I'm going to stretch it just a little bit beyond 100. So we squash it when it hits the floor. And then on its way up, it's going to get longer. But it's not left the floor yet. So what we need to do is copy the keyframe where it's on the floor still and move it over. Just stay down there. Stay down. Ah, there we go. And then we've got it extending really high, which is great because we want that for the scale. And then we just need to reset the scale back to normal. And normal is 100%. So we've got a little... But now we've got to do that in reverse. So I'm gonna paste that here. Let's take the long one. Also, cool trick or tip, you don't always have to do it this way. You can totally do it manually each time. But if you've got a loop going and it's doing the same thing on the way there, like on the way to the end of the clip as the start, just copy the keyframe and do it in reverse. No one said you had to make it harder for yourself. So now you might not really be able to tell, but on the way down, it stretches, it squishes, and when we hit the bottom, and then on the way back up, it's like, wow. And then ta-da! Misty said, I've never used After Effects, kind of scares you? Oh no! I know it looks like there's a lot of stuff in it, but I highly recommend starting with a small or a simple project. So at the moment, even when you take my file, I know there's like a lot of stuff in here, but the only thing you need to move is the pot right now. Squish squash, yes! Ooh! We got awesome Adobe peeps in the chat at the moment. Voodoo Val, Annika, Storm, Stuart, and Jack Watson. So now we got a little bloop, bloop, bloop. We're digging it. And all we done, hold on, there's a problem. So, let's get up close. Squash and stretch is good, but things don't squash in height only. When things squash, they get wider. So we gotta make it wider. Okie dokie. So for wideness, only normally happens when it goes down. When it's stretching, you can make it skinnier if you like. I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to go back into the scale on the part where we make it go down, and I'm just going to stretch it. I don't want to stretch it here, because if we do, it's going to try to stretch it there too, and that's not what we want. I'm going to stretch it in the middle. And then I'm going to keep the width on the other side, because it's still going down. So dramatic, you know? Sometimes you just got to let the keyframe know. You got to let the keyframe know. 127, 127. So now we've got that squash, and if that's happening too fast, what I might do is make it less. I might get rid of this, might not need it. But if it seems like it's a bit too much, we don't necessarily need that much. Oh, there we go. That looks better. I know it's funny. It doesn't really look like it's doing much, but trust me, when it's all together, it looks like it's doing way more than we've done. Way, way more. And that was, what was that? Stage 3? I think it was. I've actually written it all down. That was stage 3. We've only got 5 stages. This is going to go really quickly. Stage 4. What is stage 4? Okie doke. So we've got our pot. We've got the rotation. We've got the squash and stretch. But now it's time to do some follow through animation. When the pot goes down, the plant leaves are going to go up. And once it hits the floor, it's not really gonna recognize that it's hit the floor yet. We can make it move a tiny bit, but on its way back up, the leaves are gonna come up again. So the best tip for this is, you know when you go to a swimming pool and you jump in, you're diving in down, but your hair goes up. And then you've hit the water, but you're still slowing down, so your hair's not down yet. But when you hit the bottom of the pool, you push yourself up, your hair's not still up, your hair's down, and you're coming up, and your hair will eventually follow you and then come up. So what we're doing is that kind of follow through, the diving analogy. If my plant pot was smaller, I would grab that. Hi, Easy! Welcome, Drebin! Oh, Drebin, I don't know about that. Thank you. That is really interesting. I'm glad you're finding it interesting. Let's grab a hold of it. This is the only semi-tricky bit. The only semi-tricky bit. How are you doing, Easy? How are you doing, Drebin? Thank you so much for coming on in to the Adobe Live Isms. We're all here for it. Yeah. Right. So I've separated the leaves. When you're doing this, you don't necessarily have to be as detailed with it. To be honest, you don't even need to do the leaves. People will probably be really happy with the bounce that there is. But I've labeled the leaves right and left. So I know I want rotation. So if we click on a layer and we know we want rotation, if we just press R, let me whip out the cute keyboard. If we just press R, it will bring up the rotation for us. So here we are. We'll click on the stopwatch and I'm gonna have the leaves go up. Whoops, that's not up. We'll have the leaves go up. We're actually going to do something fun with the leaves once we finish moving them where they are. We're gonna move them together for now, but then we're gonna toggle them a little bit later. Easy said, I'm good at work, but had to come by and watch the superstar. Oh, I don't know about you. Drevin said that plant must be listening to a banger. Well, well. So now we've got the leaves going up. We could probably make it go up a little bit more if we wanted. Sometimes you might find that less is more. I might get rid of a keyframe or two. I think it's important to note while you're working or you're animating or you're doing whatever, the very first go through of you doing something might not hit the way you want it to hit. So just keep fiddling with it. It will go the way you want it to. I want whatever mixtape he's listening to. Wait, it's listening to, wait. Okay, so now we've got a rock. Do we need to like put some more goth makeup on our plant pot? All right. And on the way down, leaves go up, like the swimming analogy, hits the floor. So the leaves come down. Leaves come down when we hit the floor. Technically, the leaves could go further down because it's being shot up, but I'm not sure. I've tried to make this one very simplistic so we don't have puppet tools, which would add more animation to it. So we can tilt it down a little bit more, see what it looks like. And then on its way up, we'll have it flick. And then at the very end, we can make sure this happens after the whole movement has ended, just for some dramatic effect. Just like with everything else, we copy the first frame and paste it. There we go. And now we've got a little bit of movement, a little bit of music. He does seem like he's listening to a major jam, says Voodoo. Does it really? Okay. Well, you know what? If we move the position, it's gonna make it look like, okay, it's gonna headbang its way. It has no legs. It's gotta headbang its way to like down the street, you know? What is it going to do? It's moving. This is it moving easy. So this is the only way our plant pot can move. So in my heart is jamming to Darude Sandstorm. Oh my gosh. Yes, actually. We could totally, at the very end, add a position on our X and just have it go like this. And it'll be like, boop, boop, boop. Oh no, Val, now I feel like we need to add headphones on this little bay now. Okay, so we've got the leaves. Great, let's do that to the others. So we've already done these two. I'm gonna grab both of the left ones now. Put the rotation on them. And it's the same again. I'm actually going to keyframe the first one, put it in the last section because we know where the end frame is now. And let's do the exact same thing. No, when you put your hands up, wait, what do you mean, Easy? What do you mean? So we need to make little headphones. Okay. Let's rotate it. Oops, and you. Let's grab both of these. I'm just holding control to select them both. And now I'm rotating it up. Just so it matches the other one. What we're going to do is move the keyframes a bit so they don't all look like they're moving at the exact same time. I'm going to have it go down here and skip the middle one. Yeah, that's good. Sometimes you don't need as many frames as you think you do. Look at the headphones! Drebin said that plant is listening to some Busta Rhymes. Drebin, please. Voodoo said, gosh, nothing like a day to Pixie to make a Monday feel like a Friday. You know what? I forgot it was Monday. I'm glad. Not bus. Okay, we've got this. And then on its way back up, it goes up again. And we know all we have to do is paste the frames that we've already done. So now we've got our little, now it's a headbanging plant. Misty said, did you do this in Illustrator and make each element as a separate layer? Actually, I can show you. I don't actually use Illustrator. It's funny, I've always been like slightly hesitant to use Illustrator. Most of the stuff I actually do in Photoshop. So this goes with all of the 2D animations, including my background, by the way. The way that we're doing this plant is how I made my whole raid animation and my background and all of that jazz. So where's my Photoshop? So what I did, I used the pen tool. That's Photoshop. Looks super sharp. Ah, DTM! Hey, shout out to Daniel DTM, who I really want to do a collab now. I really do. So let's pull this down. So what I did was hopped into Photoshop. Let me hide this so you can see a little bit better. Clear the grid. Easy said, you said he's going to do this, and then you put your hands in the air and said flick. Yeah, it's gonna flick. Album cover. Let me hide that. I can't hide it. Control and H. There we go. Went in, I've made a line. This is for step 5, of which we're very close to being on. It's too simplistic. Step 5, our shadow. I made individual leaves. I made a cheek. I made the pot. All of the stuff are in relation to where I want it to be in After Effects. There's a pot shine. I kind of forgot it was there. We've got different mouths. So if you do choose to animate your plant pot, you can pick a different mouth and they'll all still move in the same direction. You've got your eyes. You've got your eye shine. And that's pretty much it. There's actually closed eyes as well. You see that, Steam? Voodoo said, Pixie, we're on the same page. I'm more comfortable in PS. Really? I have used some Illustrator, but I go straight back, you know. I go straight back in. But yes, each element is a separate layer, Misty. So if you were a fan of using Illustrator, you can do the exact same thing. And you can do what I did with this one. Even though you've gotten a full file, when you double click After Effects, you can click on your file, your Illustrator or your Photoshop file. And when you go to import it, it will ask you if you want to composition retain layer styles. Wait, layer styles. That will keep everything where you've chosen it to be. So it's much easier than you trying to work it out later on. Bliss said, I think you do well in Illustrator. There's a pen tool there. Look, I'm fresh to the pen tool. I'm so fresh to the pen tool. Joshua said, but you could pull this off in Illustrator if you wanted. Yeah, I mean, you could. You could. You absolutely could. The only component that stays the same really is After Effects. After Effects can see Illustrator's layers and Photoshop's layers and do the same thing. Yeah, same, Joshua. There's a lot of hits for that. Wait, Easy said the soul of a true animator. Wait, just by saying, oh, it's gonna do the drama. The drama. Just boop. Okay, so now we've got a plant. It does its thing, but that plant's going Super Saiyan green. I mean, we can change it up, but we haven't done the middle one yet. So I'm going to rotate it back, and I'm also going to do scale, mainly because it's at the very top of the pot. So we know when it's going down, we're going to pull out that leaf. When it hits the floor, it's going to squash a bit. And when it comes back up, the leaf is going to come up. So it's that diving analogy. Oh, there's a follow along? Yeah, we got a follow along. We got that follow along. So let's go to the middle leaf. I think if you're creating your own things that you want to animate, I highly recommend putting them, separate them in layers, either in Photoshop or in Illustrator first, and put them in the order that you want to see them in. And you're gonna have to think a little bit beforehand, but you don't really have to, because if we needed to, we could change the layers here and have it still work. But if you do your foundation in the first place, you don't need to go around and do the foundation in the end when you're trying to animate. So I'm just saying, helpful tips, helpful tips. Oh, thank you. Oh, Easy. If you do it, because your animations are amazing, I'd love to see what you do with this plant. Okay, so we've got the rotation. Let's tilt it up a little bit. We've got to show that it's had some sort of movement. I'm going to move this keyframe over a little bit. So the funny thing is, we're doing the exact same thing that we did at the beginning, but we're just doing it on top of more frames, on top of more images. So it looks like it's getting more complicated. Sam! Hi, Sam! Bars. Well, by me not doing this one at the same time as the others, it gives the animation, I think it's called timing and spacing. It's something that they use at Disney as well. Very important thing. So let's say we're moving to the right. We're using my body as an example. When I move to the right, yes, my body goes there, but if I want it to be more dramatic, my head could get there late. So if I was going to be sassy, I'd be like, oh, it's that kind of extra, that extra stuff that makes the animations look really fun or really squishy. If you're trying to make it human, then they do slow down or do have follow movements. We do that in real life, but they're just smaller. You don't know how to rotate the pot? So to rotate the pot, there's a little red layer called pot rotate, which I should have rotated the pot with that actually, because I set it up for that. If you go to pot rotate, you can press R and you can rotate the pot there. I don't know why did I not rotate the pot there? I don't know. You can rotate the pot there, or if you go to the pot layer, that's where we've actually done all of our animation. Go to the pot layer and press the R button. That's R for rotate. Or if you want to see everything, click on the arrow. It will open up all of your transforms and then you can click rotate right there. Yeah, slide to the right. Wait, Driven. Okay, let's go back to doing our middle leaf. We've got it. It tilts. I think I'm gonna have it tilt a little bit more. And then we need it to come back. So we're gonna paste the first frame at the end. This is wild. You tried it and it didn't work. Now you showed me it worked. I think it just missed its mum. I don't know what to say. I mean, that's hilarious. Okay, so let's go. Disco part. Okay, so now we need headphones and a little disco bar. Wait, hello, lovely. Wow, I really love what you're doing and the way you explain. It's so funny. We like that. Following you from Senegal and Africa. Wade, thank you and welcome. I'm really glad you're enjoying it. I realized I went a little bit too ham on the first live that we've done. So I'm trying to bring it back, make sure that we're able to, we're not even using the keyframe assistant. Trying to keep it simple so we can have fun. And from here, we'll be able to do more complicated things, but maybe we'll keep it simple for now. Uma, I'm trying to speak my truth. Okay, mid. Right, we've got it. But for more dramatic effect, we know when things are falling, they stretch. When they hit the floor, they squash. If you're looking to become an animator, you should definitely animate a ball. I know everybody says it, but it's true. It's true. No one wants to do it, but you should. It helps with everything. What moves the pot up and down? So if you head to the pot, the thing that moves the pot up and down is position. Or what layers did you do that animation on? So I've accidentally done the rotation on the pot layer as well, which I wasn't supposed to, but yeah. So we did the position on the pot and the rotation on the pot. So the pot's animations are actually all on the pot layer. So position, scale, and rotation. If anybody else is also going to do their own version of the pot's bounce, please tag me at Pixipui, please. Defo going ham? Yeah. All right, what's next? The squash and stretch. So I've added my keyframe here and I'm going to squash it down. Let's turn off the link. Otherwise it's going to go in both height and width and we don't want that. No. Let's squash it down. Let's move it so it does it slightly after. There we go. You don't want things to happen at the same time. You definitely want them to happen a little bit later. I want it to stay down for a little bit longer. So I'm going to copy that frame and paste it again. So it knows it's got to stay down. And then I'm going to paste the original scale and pop it there. Actually, we could make it longer. Let's do that. You're just trying to learn After Effects though. Oh yeah? Ooh, Usha, you're back. Welcome back, lovely. So the pot layer. Okay, I got you. Let's go easy. Not a pro, but you know the basics only. Eh? Ironically, the basics are what the pros use. They just know the basics really well. So that's why I'm not actually using any easy ease or ease in or ease out. We don't really need it. We can do it without it. That's just animation in general though. But what stuff have you done in After Effects, Usha? All right, so we've got our scale staying where we want it. I want it to stretch up a little bit. So let's stretch it up a bit. Doesn't need to be a lot. The human eye will be able to work out what's happened. It goes down I could probably push it down a little bit more. So let's squash it a bit more for dramatic effect. And we need it to go back high again. Yep, and you're doing great. Oh, easy. Thank you. And we're just going to make it stretch and then relax back on its normal layer. So we've got the bounce. We've got the bounce. It's moving. It's doing its thing. We're ready. We're ready. But we're not fully ready because we've got to make this a little bit more interesting. So let's grab the leaf rotation. I'm going to grab all of this keyframe. We're going to do something sort of pro-y. We're going to grab all of these keyframes. We're going to hold the Alt key and we're going to drag from the end. That's going to make them get longer or shorter, but within the same distance. So I'm just going to drag it out a little bit, just so it moves at a slightly different speed to the other one. That way they don't all look like they're doing stuff at the same time. They don't know what's wrong, but people know something's a bit off. So try to make things happen at different times. So these two are also moving at the same time. So let's move them. Oh, thank you, Rusha. Me and the rest of the peeps being hosted by Adobe. Thank you. Creeping down the street in my 64. What you talking about? What you talking about? Okay, let's do the same to this one. I'm just gonna hold Alt and drag it out. I'm just trying to make sure it's not touching any other one. There we go. Now we've got a little, you know, that's the plant. These are the leaves. Just so we got it. We got it. Woohoo! Get in here. Cool. So we've done our leaves. We're happy. We're walking away from the leaves. To make sure we don't accidentally touch more of the leaves, we're going to select all of our leaves and then we're going to click the lock layer. That basically means whenever you try to accidentally touch it, it's going to flash and let you know, no, can't touch, no cookie for you. It's like, okay, I don't touch it. So now we're leaving the leaves alone. We're on to stage 5, the last stage. In stage 5, we're going to be adding some extra stuff. We're going to add a shadow. We've got that shadow on the bottom, but we hadn't done anything with it yet. So we're going to make the shadow react to the pot falling. We're also going to move the eyes. So the same way that we move the rest of the stuff, we're going to have the eyes move up when the head goes up and then down when the head goes down. Gives it a little bit of wobble. We can do that with the cheek as well if we like. And we can also do that with the mouth. So let's first do the shadow. Question on the squash. On the pot layer. It is actually on the pot layer. So on the pot layer, all we've done for the squash is go to scale, turn off the link, and we're using the Y axis in the scale. Does it come with the final boss, Drebin? Oh my gosh, could you imagine? So this is like, imagine if this is like a side-scrolling game. This would be like, oh, this is the pot that you are. But then the other pots are like the pots that weren't watered. Yeah, cactus. Anyway, Pixipui, wait! I'm trying to emphasize my point. I'm trying to emphasize my point by holding my eyes easy. I'm trying to emphasize my point. It makes sense from my side. Okay, we want to move the shadow. So let's go to the shadow layer and we're going to scale. Scale starts with the letter S, so let's click S. That's our scale. We're going to pop a keyframe down and we only need it to move not up and down. We need to move left and right. So, Professor Peaks, thank you. What we're going to do, we're going to unclick the layer or the link. I'm going to allow us to keep that keyframe at the start, and then when the pot hits the bottom, we're going to pull in the scale a little bit. We're going to pull the what do you call it? The position of the floor shadow up because it's not actually next to it, but we will. So now we've got it going down, and then when it comes back up, it can go big again. So that way it's gonna look like, oh, every time the pot moves. Letter of the day is S. But the shadow's in the wrong place. So the easiest way to put it back to right is to move the position. So let's click P for position. What letter of the day is P? So we're gonna press P and put our, well, we don't really need to put a keyframe down. It's not really moving. So I'm just gonna move the scale up. So now it looks like it lands on the shadow. You guys can actually still see my old grid line, which is helpful for knowing where the floor is or where you want to put the floor. You don't have to put the floor there. I think what I want to do, just because it's not technically off the ground yet, we're going to copy our squished in scale line and paste it just to make sure it doesn't move until we're ready. There we go. Hey, 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 hey. My little pumpkin. Next, we're going to move the eyes. We're gonna move the eyes. Make it fun. So I'm going to grab the right eye and the left eye at the same time. I'm gonna zoom in on there. Let's get really close, binoculars. Grab the position, P for position, pop a keyframe on both of them. And when the pot goes down, we're gonna move the eyes up. Whoa, that's not high enough because we can't tell it's happened. Wow. And then when it hits the ground, the eyes come down. Kapoo. And then the eyes stayed that, well, we might like it. Let's, oh, by the way, you can't grab two different keyframes on different layers and paste them. It's just gonna paste a whole new layer. It does not paste two different sets of keyframes. So you're gonna have to do that manually, I'm afraid. Let's grab the high eyes, and then paste the eyes back to normal. Back on their first keyframe. Here we go. Bah, bah. Squishy eye, wiggly eye. Oh, wiggly eye. Wiggly eye. Okay, super cute. So now that we're technically done, if you wanted to, you could change the mouth that you have. I've given you three different mouths. If you're feeling up to it, you can actually animate between them. We can do a little animation between the mouths if we want. Or I have left in closed eyes. So that means we would see a closed eye when the other eyes weren't there. So we'd probably duplicate what we've just done a few times so it moves, and then we'd add a blink in. And then people are like, oh, it's not a complete loop. Look, it's got life. It can blink. It can blink. Blinking. You don't understand what a keyframe is. So a keyframe is our way of saving a position in time. I think technically it keys a frame of existence. It's the only way that we can record movement. So in order for us to record any movement that we desire, we have to put a keyframe on it first. So I'm going to give that as an example with the mouth. Let's go to the mouth. And we have to first put the stopwatch on it so it knows that it needs to keep track of something. And now it's made a keyframe. This keyframe records the position that it's in. So whatever we do to it, it's going to record what it's just done. So now I'm going to move this very dramatically. I'm going to move it up here. This is the second keyframe that it made automatically. The second keyframe is going to record the second position. The first keyframe has recorded the first position. So it's just the terminology that After Effects uses to keep track of what frame is this? Oh, I don't know. We've keyed it with the tool to make sure the program remembers where we put it. We also doing frame beta? Well, all right now. Yes, Drevin. Pretty much. Welcome, guys. Thank you, RB. Yes, RB said keyframe is just the position around which animation happens. Yes. It's our way of recording a position for After Effects, so it knows that we've done something. I kind of like this, so we're going to keep going with it. We're going to put another keyframe. Don't worry about the word too much. It's more recording a moment. So we're going to record this moment by moving the position down. Now After Effects is going to remember what we've just done. And it's made a new frame based on what we've just done. I'm going to take another recording of what we've done and paste it here. And now it's pasted the other frame that we did earlier. And now we need the first one, because we won't be able to tell After Effects what to keep or where to put it unless we put these frames down. So let me take the first frame and paste that. Now we've got a wiggly mouth. Round one, fight. Who's this plant bot gonna fight? What is a plant's enemy? An Adobe fighting game. Drebin. What is this plant pot gonna fight? Like, what is it gonna fight? Gus, how have you been? Have you been well? Okay, we got cuteness. We have cuteness. We could totally do more. Should we move the cheek too? Let's move the cheek. I have deliberately put the cheek, one cheek on the front layer and one cheek on the back, because if we put both on the front, we'll lose the illusion that the pot is sort of 3D. It looks like it's 3/4 on at the moment. Zombies? No. Definitely not, because I know where you're going with that. I know where you're going with that. Some rabbits and bugs. Oh, I guess so. Everything tries to eat a plant, right? So let me grab this cheek and we'll scroll down to our other cheek, which is deliberately in the back, just so it looks 3-dimensional. Oh, I've been well. Clever. I've been very well. Thanks for asking. Yeah. I'm sure you've already shared. No, I haven't actually. I'm really good. I'm very happy. I realized that I think 5 stages for animation seems to be like a really good thing that we can all do together. So it's not too long. It's short enough for us to dive in and have fun with. And oh my gosh, Gus, you weren't there at the beginning. Can I show you the videos I made to help describe what we're doing? If the plant is petty, it's gonna find a reason. Wow. Why does your plant have like such emotion? I wanna know. Okay. So I'm gonna make the cheeks go up just a little bit. Everything's going up. We don't want it too much. I'm gonna have the cheeks go down after everything's happened, just to make sure this is a different timing and spacing. Yes, it's perfect. Yeah! Thank you, Voodoo Val. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, I'm really glad. I'm really glad you guys liked it. I wanted to make sure that we could all do it and we're not going too far and there was time for me to answer whatever questions you lot had, as well as showing off things that we might need to show off, like the Photoshop moment. Oh, look at the cheek. Look at it. Like, oh my gosh. Cute. Okay, so Gus, what I've made, and we're going to do this for all of our Adobe Live things, I think, have 5 stages. Stage 1, we went through showing what we would start off with, which was the plant pot. We would add a keyframe. We would then move the pot down, keyframe it twice to make sure that it stays put, and then move it up again at the very end for the loop. Stage 2, we were talking about rotating the pot, and then when the pot hit the floor, it hit the deck, keeping the rotation because it's not really on the floor yet, and then when it rotates forward, have it rotate the mouth moving. It's doing it for me. I'm so glad you like it. So cute. Stage 3, I'm glad we had extra time because I probably would have done it otherwise. Stage 3 was us adding the squash and stretch. So on the way down, we make sure that it stretches, and then when it hits the, oh, my other thing, I had a timer on it. There we go. When it comes down, it stretches. We could totally have squished it as well, but I didn't want to go that far. And then when it hits the floor, we squash it in height and in width. And then when it's way back up, we do the same thing but in reverse. So we have to make it go long again. And then at the very end, we can have it hit the floor normally. Stage 4, we took everything that we had just done, and then let's see what was stage 4. We moved the leaves. So this is on the follow through. So it's technically the plant pot is done. When the pot goes down, the leaves go up like you're diving into water. When it hits the floor, the leaves go down because gravity. And when it's going up, because you're jumping, just like when you jump at the bottom of a pool, The leaves are technically still down until it hits the top. Arms up, leaves up, and then it's back to normal. 3 stage plans, right? Yeah. Stage 5, the last stage, is adding the... It's just the extras, really. You don't have to do these, but I think it's nice if you do. It's adding the shadow, making the shadow move so it looks like it's not floating in space. And then also moving the eyes just so they bounce a little bit. And now, like Uma said, we've moved the mouth as well. So we've got that really cute follow on to it. And thanks to Misty asking about the keyframe, we've done the mouth and the cheeks. Now it's all just squizzy, 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 squizzy. Oh, sorry, 5 stage? The 5-stage plan. Yeah. No, we got squishy, squishy. But one thing that I haven't scheduled in, we could make this plant pot move. I'm not sure about this, but we've got time. We've got like 7 minutes left. Should we try to make it move? We totally could. What I'm gonna do, I'm going to make sure nothing is locked, otherwise it won't let me grab everything. I'm going to grab all of the layers that's holding shift all the way to the bottom. No problem. I think maybe having the stages is good as well, because then we can do a recap. Yeah, we can do a freaking recap. Yeah. Grab all of the layers. This is awesome. Thank you, Missy. Hold shift and control and pre-compose, or if you're not sure about that, there's a way to do it with file. I'm fairly certain. How else can we do it? Right click and go to pre-compose. That's useful if you're not really used to doing shortcuts. I'm gonna call this plant loop. I don't know why I'm shouting it with caps, but here we are. And it's looping, but it's really short. So let me go to the Kawaii plant. We're gonna go to the composition settings and let's change it to, I don't know, 10. Oh, that's really long, isn't it? Let's change it to 5. So did you realize that 10 seconds is really long? 5 seconds is also long. We're gonna grab our plant pot loop. We're gonna duplicate it. That's Control and D. And we're gonna snap it to the other end of this finished composed line. So the easiest way to do that is to hold shift while you drag. It literally snaps it to the end. Makes your life a little bit easier. I'm gonna do that a couple more times. In fact, I'm gonna grab both of these. Control and D. I'm gonna click and drag while they're both selected. Click and drag and pull them up. Just a little whoop, little hoist. There we go. Shift and pop it to the side. So now it's definitely looping. Let's do it one more time. Push it all the way to the top. You don't necessarily have to push it to the top. It will still work regardless, but for the sake of human ease, you can tell which one is the next one because they're kind of going up. Sometimes I make them go down as well. So let's say this is the end of our loop. We're gonna click to the end, take a look on the left, it shows our time. Let's left click it and copy it. Go back to the composition settings on our Kawaii plant and paste. You love it? Yeah! Happiness inbound. The background isn't fully going, but because it's just a single image, we can click and drag the end and make it go all the way. Okay, here's the fun part. Here's the fun part. We're going to grab all of this. We're going to compose it one more time. Call it whatever you want. Official plant. We're going to right click this other half here. We're going to go to new and create a null object. We have about 2 minutes left here with Pixie. Oh yes, please do grab the stuff. Grab your stuff. Grab your stuff. And with our null, we're going to grab this parent squiggly line. If you don't see it, click the toggle switch. Drag it onto the null. Now, if we press the P key, we can move this to the left. And then put this all the way to the right-hand side. And now we've got a plant hop. Obviously, we'd want to do this a little bit better. But you get the gist. You get the gist, right? I hope you do. we've not necessarily set it up for movement, but you get the gist, right? You get the gist. It'll be like, oh, maybe it should go like all the way. Maybe that's my bad. Oh, that's a fast plant. That is a fast plant. But you get the gist, right? You get the gist. What we'd have to do to make sure it lands when we wanted it to land is to make sure the loop doesn't have too much of an extra baggage. Plant hop, or the plant hoppage. I can't remember when I'm supposed to end, you know. I can't remember. I'm sure we'll find out. It's 57? I think 57. Okay. Let me just move this here, and we're just gonna copy and paste, and then we'll be out of here. We'll be out of here. We'll be out of here. Oh, thank you, Mohammed. If you watch the recap, grab the files that Voodoo Val popped down below. You'll be able to follow along and make your own plant. Our plant's moving really fast, but you know, it is what it is. This plant uses Speed Force too. Yes, it does. Da-na-na-na. But that was us for today. That was us making a plant hub. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you had a good time. I had fun. It was a lot of fun doing this plant pot, and I'm really glad to hear that you guys all liked it as well. So I'll try to make sure the next one has 5 stages and we can have fun with that too. Oh, thank you, Voodoo Val. Yeah. Fabulous stream inbound. Woo. Thanks, Bliss. I hope you lot have fun with your next host. Thank you, Clevelyn. Wait, I've mixed your name. Thank you, Devlin. Woo. Thank you, Joshua. See you guys later. Bye, 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 bye. Bye.